Hello everyone, I love you. I'm doing a video today about the energies that we are engaging in and stepping into right now, that we've been stepping into and that we're now really embodying. And this message came from the light beings called the Alpha Centauris. These are beings that I haven't worked really that often with, but I did a journey with them today in my Patreon community, and they provided a really powerful message about what we are navigating right now. I wanted to share it with you. So, as many of you are aware of, we are stepping out into the external reality now after COVID-19, even though COVID-19 is still here in our reality, but things have shifted and changed. And one of the things that we've been recognizing and noticing is this massive polarity in our collective, right? A really, really, really powerful, potent, right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no, this side or this side. What side are you on? What are your beliefs? What are your truths? Stand up for your truth, stand in your truth, stand in your sovereignty, speak your truth. Like all of these really beautiful ways in which we are learning how to navigate what is our truth, navigate what's our frequency, navigate what is our voice. And what is unraveling in the collective that we're all becoming quite aware of is more of the denser paradigms and programs that may have been in the underbelly, kind of quiet, simmering, not quite as potent, right? A lot of stuff around vaccines, 5G, the Illuminati that have been around forever. What else is there? You name it, right? There's so many. Those are the ones that always just pop up for me, but they're in a little bit of a lower frequency. They are paradigms, but they're really coming up to the surface so that we can really see, oh, wow, look at what the collective has been experiencing for so long. It isn't necessarily coming up for us to combat it, fight it, or struggle with it. It's coming up so that we can really see the dualistic and polarity natures of the third dimensional field. Wow, look at what we perhaps used to play in or be in, or look at what the collective is playing in and being in. That's a frequency. And so one of the things these beautiful beings were reminding us is that you are raising the frequency in your body in every now moment, regardless of what you're feeling, experiencing, thinking, and believing. And when that happens, you start to feel your truths more than you think your truths. So you're starting to step away from logic and you're starting to move into the body and the heart and feeling your truths. And if you're not doing this, you will start to do this. And when you start to feel your truths, what that means is that you are feeling the frequency of your truth, which means that you're feeling the frequency of the belief systems inside the paradigm that you are playing in, buying into, experiencing. And what that means is that you are tapping into the frequency that your body is holding, which is dictating the truths that you hold. And so the more we can really unravel and dissect truths, the easier it becomes in navigating all of the infinite amount of truths which are found in paradigms that can be experienced right now. And instead of battling or going to war with the different truths, this is the right way, that's the wrong way, right? We start to see it as the observer as frequency. We start to remember, wait a second, this is the unraveling and the rattling up of the denser consciousnesses. It doesn't mean I have to disagree or agree with it. It means I have to observe it. Wow, here comes whatever paradigm you want to look at, right? Here comes people, the government making decisions on my behalf. Here comes my friends and family telling me I need to be doing these things. Here comes, me shifting out of a relationship that I no longer want to be in and everybody around me telling me, no, 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 you can't, right? We are moving from the mind and logic into our frequency and vibration, which is where all of our truth, resonance lies. So your resonance is your vibration based on the frequency in your body. And it's held within your sovereign field. And in every now moment, you can access this resonance, which gives you access to your truths, gives you access to what you are believing and playing in. It's all held in that sovereign energetic field. So the field of energy goes out 1.5 feet and it surrounds you, and it's how you're navigating the external. So there are truths, belief systems, paradigms that you may look at and read and say, I don't resonate with that anymore. Why? Because your body is in a different frequency. I don't resonate with these people. I don't resonate with my job. It doesn't need to make logical sense. It's not going to make logical sense. When you start finding the truth that you hold inside of you, which is a frequency, you are not going to be able to prove it to somebody. Prove to me you're not going to get injured by those 5Gs. Prove to me the vaccines aren't going to impact you, right? You can't prove these sort of truths all the time. Logic, proof, physical scientific data is third dimensional frequencies. Totally okay. But when we start shifting into the higher frequencies, we are literally moving out of the physical space. We're moving out of physical proof, scientific proof. We're moving out of all of that. And we're moving into a more energetic field. It's all feeling. There will be humans that are going to be able to dissect that and prove it in an energetic way. But in the meantime, we have to courageously start to navigate every now based on our resonance, our frequency, our truths, our beliefs. And all they actually are ways of navigating our external world. They're just tools. They're not who we are. We're a higher consciousness, but we need tools to play in this game. We need tools to navigate this. We can't just sit in the space of I'm a higher consciousness and I'm just going to sit. That doesn't work. You have to live. You have to be human. And so you have to recognize how this works as we start to raise the frequency in our body. And what's really, really important, you guys, is to recognize that every truth, we're just going to use that word, is true. And every truth is true for some human that believes it based on their frequency. We don't believe it. It may be very difficult for us to hold that truth. We don't need to. We can disagree. It's part of being in this matrix. We're allowed to disagree. But what I encourage all of us to start to do is to not judge it. Practice that. Very challenging, but can we start to practice not judging another person's truth? If we understand that truth is just frequency based on the frequency of the body, that human that is believing that that behavior is okay is believing that based on the frequency that their form is holding. And if they were holding a different frequency, they would not necessarily be behaving that way. It doesn't make it okay, like they get a free pass perhaps in your mind, okay? But we can start to be higher states of consciousness while standing in third dimensional field by starting to slowly say, can I not judge that human's truth? Can I remember that truth is based on their frequency? Just because I'm raising my frequency doesn't mean they need to be raising their frequency. This is not saying that you have to just believe all truths. That's not what this is. That's not the message from them. The message was every truth is deserving to be a truth in this third dimensional matrix, whether we are able to handle that or not. And we get to choose, based on our frequency, what feels right to us. And unfortunately, we have to watch other humans playing in, participating, and being in other frequencies, truths, and paradigms. And if you fight against it, struggle against it, push against it, it's going to be exhausting. But we can. We can also choose to recognize that what happens during the ascension process, quite naturally, is that as we, way showers, light workers, and starseeds, stay in our sovereign field, not get pulled into those lower dimensional frequencies of paradigms and truths. If we stay in our sovereignty, if we stay in our truth, if we stay in our knowingness, then we are holding the higher frequencies in every single now moment, continuing to increase that frequency and opening up the way into these higher consciousnesses for the other humans that are not there yet, that can't see it yet. If we get caught up in the lower frequency consciousnesses, the lower paradigms, the truths that we don't like, that we want to fight against and prove our point to, it's okay. But you're bringing your frequency down, which is fine. You'll eventually bring it back up to where you are. It's not going to resonate with you. It's going to feel like a fight. It's going to feel exhausting. It's going to feel angry, right? Stressful, anxious. Those are feelings of lower frequency paradigms. It's okay. Let's just call it what it is. Right? And so the way that we bring these humans into the higher realms is by being the higher realms ourselves. It's hard because we want to dismantle, argue, fight, push against that is unraveling right now. Whatever paradigm you look at out there that has been hidden, that has been unconscious, we want to do something to assist that process of moving into the higher frequencies. And that's okay. We absolutely can. Right? Just be aware of the frequency that you're holding when you're doing that. So if you dive into a lower paradigm, sex trafficking, animal abuse, whatever it is, right? Can you hold your frequency through compassion and love as you assist that paradigm in breaking free from it? As opposed to going into that paradigm with your gloves on, saying, F you, I'm going to fight, I'm going to prove you wrong, I'm going to prove you wrong, then you're holding yourself in that lower frequency while you're trying to free that frequency or that paradigm. Do you understand? So there's nothing wrong with going into a really dense paradigm and trying to assist it and unravel it and pull it into the higher frequencies. Just be aware of your own frequency when you're doing it. Because if you're jumping into it, holding the lower frequencies, then you're not doing justice for it. Basically, you're just playing in the same frequency, fighting with it, and nothing's going to come of it, as opposed to stepping into it and not judging, trying to have a compassionate, open heart as you move into it and navigate it. It's all a choice. This is the other thing they were saying. Everything is choice. And there's no right or wrong in any choice right now that you choose to make. You're always choosing your truths. Your truths are going to come from inside based on resonance. So you want to listen to the resonance, the vibration, right? The resonance is going to feel like a radar or a, like a little like beep, 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 beep. Oh, that feels good. Beep, 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 beep. That doesn't feel good, right? Okay, that feels good. That doesn't feel good. That resonates. That doesn't resonate. It's a feeling of like, oh yeah, that matches my frequency. That's a match. That doesn't match my frequency. That feels off. It feels dissonant. That's where you find your truths. And then you choose. I'm going to hold that truth. Or, no, I'm not going to hold that truth. I'm going to let go of that truth and just let it be. I don't need to play in that truth. I don't need to hold that truth. I don't need to be a part of that truth. I'm just going to let that truth be in the quantum space. You get to choose what you argue with or what you fight against. You get to choose all of it. You get to choose the people you have in your life. And if you can't choose it because they're your family in your house right now, you get to choose how you engage with them. You get to choose how you surrender into the now moment or how you fight against the now moment, trying to create a new now moment, which is suffering. We are not victims to this external world that we find ourselves in right now. And the more we can bring ourselves into our body, finding our breath, and slowly beginning to feel our frequency, feeling that, oh, that feels good when I speak to that person. That doesn't feel good when I hang out with them. That feels good when I walk into that grocery store. That doesn't feel good. The more we can feel that and not think it, the more we'll be in flow, the more we won't be in suffering or struggle, the more we'll realize how empowered we actually are. If someone's saying, oh, so-and-so is going to take away your power and take away your control, well, that's a choice, believe it or not. Because as sovereign beings, nobody's taking anything from you. It can feel like it based on this external world that we're playing in. But we are required to start to really go inside and understand our sovereignty, which means that we are safe in our energetic field. No matter what anyone does externally, to us, to the collective, to our community, we are safe in our sovereign field. This is key right now. Key. Because we are going to feel, perhaps some of you are going to feel as if you are not safe, as if you don't have the ability to choose. And you have to navigate how to feel that when you are choosing to play in paradigms that are telling you you're not safe and you don't have control anymore. You're choosing that. It's a reality. It is a truth, and it is a choice. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to play in it or participate in it until it is directly in your now moment. And when it is directly in your now moment, knocking on your door or texting on your phone or sending you an email, then you practice sovereignty, which means I'm a higher consciousness in physical form. And as I increase my frequency in my physical form, I am safe no matter what is occurring externally. And nobody can convince this of you. Nobody can convince this to you. Nobody can show this to you. Nobody can direct you to this other than you practicing this. And you get to say, bullshit, Lori, no freaking way, for as long as you want. But this is what is required of us as we start moving into 5D consciousness deeper and deeper, which is just our own consciousness, because we're not escaping the external. We're not escaping the chaos. We're not escaping all that is unraveling. We're not escaping it. We have to go through it. So how do we go through it feeling safe? It's called sovereignty and choice. And we've never done this before. How do I know I'm safe if someone's telling me I can't do this, 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 or this? You come back into you, right here, present moment, your body, your breath, your now moment. Can I feel my frequency? Can I calm myself down? Can I remember that I'm a higher consciousness? Can I settle in? And can I choose to respond differently? And it's a massive amount of practice, over and over. And we are all just now beginning to learn how to do this. Many of us. We've never really been given an opportunity like we have right now, stepping out into an external world that has so much obvious polarity that we can't escape and pretend anymore. Now we have to learn sovereignty. Because remember, we can read and gain as much knowledge as we want, but that is nothing. Knowledge does nothing if you can't put it into practice. It means nothing. So what if you know about dimensions? So what if you know about New Earth? So what if you know about compassion and unity consciousness and Christ consciousness and blah, 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 blah? Who cares? Can you practice? Can you practice sovereignty? And can you have compassion for yourself as you step out into the external, not able to? Getting pummeled by that dense consciousness that's controlling you and creating anxiety and stress and worry and whatever. And can you pop yourself out and become the observer for a moment and say, wait a second, what does sovereignty feels like? It feels like nobody can penetrate my energetic field. I get to choose what penetrates it. I'm choosing. And then allow yourself to feel what you're choosing. Don't beat yourself up. I'm choosing to get angry. Okay, great, get angry. I'm choosing to have frustration. Great, have frustration. I'm choosing to play in this density. Great, play in it. But remember, it's a choice. Even the paradigms that you don't think you have a choice in playing in, you have a choice in how you're going to stand in the midst of it. You are believing that paradigm. You don't have to. Even if it's knocking on your door, calling you on the phone, or sending you an email. This is part of what is so challenging about awakening into the higher states of consciousness. You know the truths. You know your truths, and your truths may be different than the truths that are out there. And yet you can't escape what is out there. You can't escape it. You can't close your eyes. You can't hide. You can't go under the covers. You can't go in a cave. You have to navigate it. And the way we've learned to navigate it is to fight it, to argue with it, to prove it wrong, which is fine. It's only going to exhaust you because it's only going to shift when the collective shifts. And the only way the collective shifts is we, as the way showers, light workers, star seeds, whatever the name you give us, continue to hold the higher frequencies, hold the higher timelines, the truths, the paradigms, the belief systems that are of a higher frequency in the midst of these lower frequency consciousnesses, paradigms, belief systems, truths. That's how we shift their truths. That's how we shift their belief systems. And, like I said earlier, we can jump in and do our best to assist and to help, but can we do it from the high frequency state that we hold in our bodies? Just like Jesus, just like Mother Teresa, right? Just like Gandhi, right? They walked right into the chaos, but they didn't tell the people they were wrong. They didn't tell the people they were bad. They loved all of it. And they did their best to assist the humans through it. Very different than combating, fighting, struggling. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Not easy. So the message for us today, in this now, whenever you're listening to it, is to remember that truths are based on frequency. Truths are a choice, and there are an infinite amount of truths to choose from. Your truths will continue to shift as your frequency shifts. Can you start to see truths as frequency? It will allow you to become the observer and detach, so you're not so clinched onto all these different truths. Can you remember that your resonance is your yes, no, feels good, doesn't feel good, right? Your resonance, not your mind, not your logical thinking brain. That's not going to guide you going forward. Your resonance, your frequency, the way you feel in the world is going to show you where to go, what to be, what to say. It's going to give you that. It's providing you with that. And then your sovereignty, the energetic field around you that holds your resonance, that holds your truths, that holds you as a higher consciousness, that holds your light codes, that holds your abilities, that holds all of it, is safe. It has always been safe. It's how the physical forms are designed on the earth plane because of how dense the physical world is and the consciousness in this physical dimension. Our sovereign field allows us to remember that we are safe in any consciousness. We can stand in any frequency, super low or super high, and we are safe. And in that sovereign space, we get to choose what we want to participate in. Meaning, you are going to feel like you don't have a choice because there are all these paradigms telling you, you now need to do this in order to go to school. You now need to do this in order to go to work. You now need to do this in order to go to a restaurant. You now need to do this and blah, 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 right? In those paradigms, if you participate in that experience, going to school, going to work, going to restaurants, then you have to follow that protocol. As a sovereign being, you're choosing to go in and play in that protocol. And you're choosing how you're going to respond. If you go into the restaurant or the school system or your job or whatever, angry, fighting, irritable, then you are jumping into that lower consciousness paradigm and just playing in it, participating, which is fine. But you're here to hold the higher frequencies inside that paradigm. So here you go, your kids are going to school or you're going to work and you have to wear the mask. In order to go to a restaurant, you have to do this and that. I don't know what your reality looks like. Maybe none of that, right? Maybe this is more about relationships or jobs or how you're dealing with any part of your life, right? If you choose to be in it with the higher frequency, you won't be dictated by it. You won't be moving around, flopping all over the place because of it. You'll just be observing it. Wow, here I am. This is what the new now is for right now. Holy cow, this feels like a dream. I'm holding higher frequencies while I'm in it. Right? I'm holding the higher frequencies while I'm in it. And I'm going to do my best to not judge. I'm going to do my best to detach and observe. So this has nothing to do with not being aware of what's going on, pretending it's not going on, or not even having opinion about it. You can have your opinion. You're allowed your opinion. You're allowed to say, hell no, not me. But what's the frequency you're holding when you're doing that? That's all. Just get aware of your frequency. You're not here to say, oh, I agree with everything. That's impossible because your frequency isn't going to let you. It's not about agreeing with everything. It's about allowing everything to just be without judgment and learning how to do that. And when you're sovereign, you really start to understand it over and over and over again, and you're always practicing. You are always practicing. Always. Off we go. Even more to learn, more to remember. Right? It's very easy to just kind of settle into the high consciousness frequencies and, oh, I'm a high consciousness light being, and that's great. But it doesn't necessarily help you to navigate what we're navigating. We need tools. And that's what these beings are giving us, tools and remembrances of how to step out and stay and be in the higher 5D consciousnesses while we are standing in a 3D dense physical world. That's why we're here. This is what we're doing. What a gift. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing whatever you're doing, being whatever you're being, experiencing whatever you're experiencing. Don't beat yourself up. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. We're all learning. We're just learning how to do this. We're learning. Take the pressure off. All right? I love you.